is the way,
the truth,
the life,
the vine, scourged,
crowned with a crown of thorns,
crucified as the King of the Jews.
He is exalted,
glorified.
the Holy One.
The first question is, do you believe in using scientific theory and or using the scientific method?
Yes, I do.
Why?
Because when you use scientific method in today's world, it seems like it's very applicable to almost anything we do today in terms of, determining the probability of how much, we should, spend. Will it be logical to use that much? Let's hypothesize, like how much money we would have to spend on a certain item. Should we consider inflation? How much has this item got up to, the scientific method comes in handy because, it helps us approach problems with a more, structured manner instead of, looking at the problem as something that's very conflicting. It lets us break down the situation.
Okay. Thank you. Approaching real world problems. Okay. Question number 2. Do you believe or do you think that the scientific method is reliable?
I think it's very reliable in today's world. I mean, in terms of what I do today, involving, the stuff, that's going on that I'm doing right now, it's very useful because, it lets us test a lot of things. It helps us, answer our questions, like, in the response of, for example, would this work out? And then you test it, you hypothesize, you do trial and error, and you learn about it, and you understand in the end if it's, if it works or not, So I think it's pretty reliable in today's world in terms of, like me answering, should I take out a loan, will it be useful for me later on, or should I just work? Should I spend this much amount of money this time, or whatever? I think it's very reliable in terms of, the situations we end up coming across sooner or later. But I think it's very reliable today.
Okay, so with that being said, because, in a lot of schools today, we are supposed to be using the scientific method to, kind of fact check, so to speak, whether or not something is to be true, and we're supposed to do that through, observation, and so it goes on the scientific method. Do you believe that say a lot of things that are, this is an extra question by the way, but do you believe a lot of things that are kind of like, in science books, such as maybe something like gravity, do you think that is proven with the scientific method? Why or why not?
I think it is proven with the scientific method because in terms of for your example that you were saying with gravity, it's more of a thing where we were able to, we questioned it first and we tested it out, and then we were able to gain all these measurements and understand how it worked, and it helped us with our advances in the future, or of course today in the present, in terms of determining, what the gravity is like on this planet, and how it affects, orbits and all that stuff, and how it affects our Earth today, the way gravity works here, and so you, sorry, I forgot, I lost the question. So you're asking, is it,
I'm asking, the question is, going back to the gravity one, for an example, for using the scientific method, do you think that the scientific method, which, is provable by, or whatever the outcome is, it was provable by using that scientific method, do you think that gravity is the same? And you said yes, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, and question number 3, last question. Have you heard of the phrase pseudoscience?
No, I have not.
Okay. No. Do you want to take a jab at what you think it might mean?
The guessing version of science? I'm not sure. I honestly am not completely sure about the meaning of that. No, but I feel like it might be just an alternative version of a scientific method relating to the context we're talking about here.
Close. Pseudoscience is basically the coming up with, say, certain theories or certain quote-unquote, remember, quote-unquote facts that are only based on theory and have never been proven. So essentially, it's a set of beliefs. It's not actually factually proven. And that negates the, it kind of goes against the whole idea of using the scientific method. So yes, just to inform you on what that means. That's just to inform you.
Yeah, I honestly think that both of those kind of do tie into each other, because they everything really started off with the belief in the past. We gained these ideals and stuff. It's funny because we're actually doing these essays and stuff relating to our course for class here at the university, and it's it kind of has to do with a lot of what you're saying, a little bit of what you're saying, but like not exactly. It's focusing on the scientific method and stuff, but like in terms of like the transition from this religious aspect to the more scientific world today, but we still have both of those things. Science and religion, they both have this, they started off with this sort of belief, but they ended up being proven later by some artifact or something that, that became universally accepted. So I do kind of think that they do kind of fall hand in hand, except for like the context in which they might be defined. Personally, I believe that they do kind of link into each other. Everything was kind of based on theory, then we proved it. But some theories, of course, have never been proved today because we're still learning and finding out whether or not it's wrong.
Would you argue that there are some things out there today that we call fact but have never been proven?
I feel like with maybe like dark energy and stuff, dark matter, we still are on proposals and stuff, because we haven't had the physical like facts we can grasp. Really, we're making these estimations. Because for all we know, that stuff might just be there, but it might be gone by the time we reach it in the future. You know what I mean, or whatever it may be. But it's like it's more like the things we have here we can prove, or we can we can like theorize, but see clearly after a repetition of many procedures and seeing the same results. Yes, but I think there are some theories out there that are just that they think they prove something, but it may not be exactly true. We just got lucky with what Einstein had to say, and stuff like that. Like we got lucky with what he said, because he could have been wrong too. I'm pretty sure at one point in his mind he thought maybe I could be wrong. Maybe, but overall I feel like it's I do think there are things out there that are still like they're just based off of just
theory.
Ideas and stuff. Yeah, theory and stuff.
Right. And you would also argue that in today's society, those things are being called fact, even though they haven't necessarily been proven?
Yeah. I honestly feel like eventually, if they are proven, they're proven. Otherwise, for now, all we can settle on is, they're just existing. But,
so
it's not, yeah.
Yeah, so if it's not necessarily proven, but it's being called fact, why should we call it fact?
I mean, that's for them to think, because maybe they do have the data we do not understand yet. Maybe their data is there. They're using it based off what we already know, but they may not even come to a conclusion because there's these unknown variables that they don't know about, but they don't actually work out in the long run. If we look at it, if we were to look at work we did in the past on certain things, they didn't work out. But that might be the case in the future. We might have all these theories and stuff, but I think they're called fact because some people want to believe in it because they they stand behind that idea. But for some of us, it's like that seems a little bit too good to be true. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So understand that these interviews are meant to get people thinking. I'm not necessarily trying to push any bias or any kind of, what I think upon them. I'm not trying to push any, certain ideas and or ideals upon them. But this is more to get people thinking. This is more to kind of, so to speak, just kind of stop people in their tracks. Because after filming my friend who goes to UC Merced, after filming him, he admitted he was just like, yeah, I'm not going to lie, you kind of stumped me on some of those questions. Like, you kind of had me in a corner, and that wasn't even the intention. I wasn't trying to confuse him. I wasn't trying to, I wasn't trying to make him look bad or anything like that. I was just asking serious and honest questions. And, this is kind of what we need if we're going to, this is kind of what this society needs if we're going to at least start waking people up, or if we're going to at least start figuring out where everyone's heads are at. Like, yeah, we can say that everyone's heads are, that everyone's brainwashed or whatever, but, I'm partially doing these interviews, one, to figure out where everyone's heads are at, and two, to get people thinking. And once I can start doing that, I can start educating them on what I need to learn. But before I can do that, it's good to know, at least within my area, where, or what's kind of, where everyone's heads are at, and kind of, question them with these, with this kind of survey I put together. But yeah, there will be more interviews to come. This was first of many, and by the time I'm done doing my interviews, I'm going to compile them all into one video and just kind of have like a gigantic, well, not gigantic, but just have like one, movie, or not movie, but kind of like just one video with, it'll be the compilation of all the interviews. And going on further from that, after I establish that, then I'm going to be talking about, the facts, or I'm going to be talking about necessarily, kind of the average of what everyone's responses were and things of that nature. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing more interviews, and if you can, just share this with people, even though this is just like one small, interview, with, a regular guy. He's going to school. It's good to know, it's good to share, because people could be like, oh, well, I didn't know necessarily people thought that. And not a lot of people know what the term pseudoscience, is, and never even heard of it, So, asking those kinds of questions, and then if they don't know, educate them. If they do know, then, when I asked, have you heard of the phrase pseudoscience, if he would have said yes, my follow-up question would have been like, okay, well, do you think, and I did ask him anyway, but do you think that pseudoscience is, being used, in the textbooks and everything? So, yeah, just asking questions like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and like I said, there will be more to come. Stay tuned, and see you later.